Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're looking at the SPY, the IWM, the Qs, the DIA, the IYT, and the USO. We follow the daily, weekly, monthly time frames, and we use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So let's get into the 10-minute chart before we go back to the daily, weekly, monthly. And again, gap down, straight back up. We had a little topping tail here intraday, but they just chopped it around. Volume disappeared. We were 62 million on, well, I think we're about 60 million on the day. We had a couple million after hours, but just a tight pattern. Have it pegged to the stay above the moving averages. Came back in, popped it right back up, and closed 15 cents up on the day. So pretty much just a flat day. The Dow was down 12.53. The S&P was up $1.04, and the Nasdaq was down 9.16. So no great shakes here. Going into tomorrow with the jobs report, it's going to get really interesting tomorrow. But again, let's go into the daily chart. We've talked about this consolidation, jobs report. Consolidations up on the jobs report. Now we're down, consolidating in a bearish manner inside bar. Are we going to pop up on the jobs report like we've done in the last 2 months? Because everyone's conditioned now. Oh, it's got to go up. Even if it's bad, it's going up. And even if it's good, it's even better. So it's going to be interesting. Or does it come out and we just have a flat day and nothing happens? So we'll see. Whatever happens tomorrow, we're going to play it. If it goes up, we'll add shorts. If it goes down, we're already short. How about that? So daily, inside bar, if this trend line gets, if tomorrow's prices close below this trend line and this blue line here, which is the 750 retrace around 214, I think we're heading right back down to the 212.31. If it does move up, they're going to try to recapture the 618, the 750, fill the gap here right around 217.17, and ultimately they want to close it above this line. The Federal Reserve, they got to get it up here to save the markets and keep this thing going, because if the markets are good, everyone's happy, everyone's buying cars and houses and spending money. The markets go down, not going to be the same scenario. But we have a gap fill up here and the ultimate high, which is 220, and then possibly higher. But as we see here on these gap ups, they're not, we closed here at 217, and then they gapped it up to 218.45 bucks. So it's about 250, $2.50 move. So if we closed at 215, say 216 cents, we might go to 218 tomorrow, which is right at the trend line in this gap fill. So tomorrow will be, we'll see. We'll see what it gives us. Right now we're down a little bit after hours, but nothing crazy. On the weekly chart, still have an inside bar. Till we close above this bar here, which is about 219 or so, we're still bearish, setting up to go for set up for lower prices. If we do go lower, it's going to be 50 MA. We're going to hit this pivot here right around 200. That's going to have real good resistance there. But ultimately, I think we're going to get down to the 191 if this market continues to sell. IWM, same thing. It was down to 13 cents on the day. After hours actions, it's only down 2 cents after hours, so it's not that big of a deal. Let's go to the daily chart. We're not looking at the monthlies until we get a little more data. And anyways, we have to wait till the end of the month. So this here, we had a move up, then down. We're above the moving averages, the 50 and the 20, and we're consolidating in a bearish manner. So we'll see tomorrow if this thing's going to go up or if this bearish pattern is going to play out. If you're bullish, you need to get above, you need to get through this gap fill, then get up here to the all-time, not the all-time high, but the high pivot at 125.87. If it does not get up there and close, then we'll be looking for some more downside. If you're bearish, you want to get below the MAs, this green line, the 750, then ultimately into the trend line, and then in this lower trend line right around 120 or so. So tomorrow will give us a little bit more. I don't know, honestly, with the jobs number, it could be good, could be bad. And at this point, I don't think it really matters. We're just in that time frame where anything can happen. But if we keep continuing going up on light volume, that maybe they just hold it here until elections. They could do that as well. Who knows? If you bought puts, they're going to get wiped out. Let's put it that way. So weekly chart until we get above this big red inside bar, about 125.46. We're chopping around in it's a bearish pattern, but now this is a micro bull setting up. So tomorrow, we're going to know more tomorrow. Let's put it that way, guys. I can't make anything up here. Daily chart still looks bearish to me, but technically it is over the MA, still in a strong stance, but we came down, retraced up, could not close above these highs. Came back in, bearish pattern. Let's see if this thing will play out tomorrow. And again, the IWM is lagging. I've been saying that for weeks now. Lagging. Months, actually. Let's go to the Qs. Qs were down 6 cents, nothing big. Daily chart, same thing. Pulled back, came up. This isn't a bad inside bar bear or bullish pattern. We are above this 1812 pivot, and we're above the MAs, above the 200, and it's not a bad stance. It's more bullish, but when you get to the all-time highs, and it's been chopping around up here, we chopped around, distribution, pushes it back up. You know, and we did have some pretty good volume here, but you know what? I want to see bigger volume, and I want to see a real good push up. Right now, we're down and kind of sideways. Micro bull, macro, well, it's a 50-50 shot. We'll know more tomorrow, guys. It's not really telling us much. I'm short the Qs, so I'm short the Qs, short the SPY, short the IWM. If it goes up, I'll add more. I'm not in huge positions. You got to take a position that you can withstand, knowing that you might have to add more. So, you know, going short on here, don't load the house. If it goes up to 120, 122, 123, starts going up there, you got to add more. If you're not short here, add maybe a half position, and as it goes up, just keep adding a little bit more. Don't go nuts. You know, you got to know your strict money management. Money management is one of the most important parts of trading, period. And that's why a lot of these times, if I'm going to do 1,000 shares, I might go 200, 200, 200, 200, 200, and then 200 at the top, and then my cost average, say if it goes from 50 to 60, my cost average will be right around 55. Markets come tanking down. It's not on this chart. I'll get out at 55. You know, it'll be break even at 55. Goes to 50, I'll be out. But at least I caught some of that trade. And if it goes up, then you got to know your stop. So just stuff like that. But the Q's just chopping around weekly. It did close above this bar here. So let's see if we could close above the all-time high tomorrow, if they could gap this thing up. Daily chart not telling us too much, like I said, down, sideways. It's a 50-50 shot, but technically it's more on the bullish side. It is above the moving averages. It doesn't have that bad of a bullish pattern going sideways here. So we'll see what happens. Tomorrow it's going to be a news-driven event, so I can't tell you which way these things are going to go. But once it goes to whichever way, then we'll try to figure out if we can do some bounce trades or possibly add some more shorts or what we're going to do. The DIA, same thing as the SPY, just consolidating. It is in between the 50 and the 20 MA. You have this downsloping trend line. Let's see if it does go up, if it could get through that, get through the 50, fill this gap, and possibly push it up into this gap fill right here. That would be magnificent. Right there's another gap fill around 184.82, then the even number of 85, and then you have another gap fill up in here. You have a gap fill here too, right there. So that's going to be a big area too with the 50 MA gap fill if this thing pops up. Or actually it's before the bell. So this is what it'll probably be a good jobs report or bad. It really doesn't matter. They're going to try to gap it up and get it above this 50 and try to keep it going. The SPY too, all of them. They need to get this thing out of this consolidation because this consolidation is pretty ugly, bearish consolidation. If this thing starts to set up to move down, we are definitely going to 176 on here and possibly lower. Weekly chart, same thing, inside bar like the SPY, inside bar. This one's a little bit better. We're above the 50 MA, or 20 MA, but it's building pressure to possibly move lower. We need a couple more weeks of bacon, and then if it does move lower, we're just going to stair step down. If it goes higher, we need to get above the all-time high, which is where is it? 168.88. We get above that, then we'll talk. You know, and then we'll have to see some conviction. I want to see more volume if it pops this thing through. Let's go to the IYT. IYT, they are trying, guys. We've talked about, let's go to the daily. We talked about this pivot at 145.64. We did get above it, then it closed below, got above it again. Now we're closing here. We want to see this thing if it could close above this high pivot here tomorrow. If we catch a bid and this thing starts ripping, that's where it needs to go to close. If it doesn't, then I think we're going to get a head fake and this one could possibly start to move down again. But this is a big area. If it continues moving up, I mean, you can see all the pivots there. Then you're looking at the 151 area. You got a couple pivots here around 150.34. You got where the breakdown bar is around 148.49. So you have some good areas of resistance coming up. But let's keep an eye on this one tomorrow. Again, it's the jobs report. More news, and if it's good, it's news. Let's drive everything up. Like, let's upgrade Amazon 42 times before earnings, because it should be a $1,000 stock. Yeah, right. After a huge run, they're still upgrading this stuff. It drives me crazy, guys. So yeah, so on the weekly chart, we're above that area, 145.64. Let's see if we close above there. If we do, then the following week we'll see if we confirm and possibly go up into the 151 area. This isn't a bad bullish pattern. It's been consolidating for weeks. We are above the MAs. Let's see if we can pop. But if this pattern fails, we'll probably drop right through this, maybe retest the lows and the 200 MA right back in here tomorrow. That will be interesting, because they're trying to get this thing going. The Dow Jones Transport's above, or is it 8,128.19? So they are above it, but it hasn't confirmed yet. So every time it gets above this area, everyone gets excited, and next thing you know, it turns and then goes downward. So we're gonna see. We're gonna know more tomorrow, guys. All right, let's get to the USO. And then the USO is leading the way now. It's unbelievable. The dollar's going up with the oil, which is unbelievable. So that tells me it's just news-driven crap. So again, extended. We're going straight up in a vertical angle. I mean, this is 85 degrees, 80 degrees. Stocks just don't do. I mean, these moves are just stupid. I mean, look at this move: straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, kind of pulled back, and then boom, slingshot straight up. So they got everybody on board here, got them to sell. And then the news, again, news-driven stock again. Once again, it's news-driven. It drives me nuts. If they can upgrade the USO, they probably would. Yeah, we're going to upgrade it to 62. We did some live stuff today. We talked about the USO. We're into this big breakdown bar, 1153. We did add more short today to the USO, and we added more long to the SCO. The SCO, we still have a small position. Well, our stop out will probably be a couple more bucks on the downside, but we'll see how it reacts tomorrow on the weekly, and we'll see how we're going to play that. But if anything, if the USO continues up, we're looking at 1166, and we're looking at these breakdown bars up in this area, and ultimately right around $12, you have a gap fill, this green area here. Let me stick a trend line in there. You have a gap fill right there, right around 12 bucks. So you got to watch for that, and then you have a gap fill in here, gap fill up there. So ultimately, it's got to get through all that. It is extended chart. It needs to pull back and then possibly slingshot. We did break above this trend line, and we got a breakout with confirmation, so it is running. So we'll see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days up. So we might get a couple more. Then we'll look for the pullback. Weekly chart. Weekly chart. Let me open this one up a little bit here. Oops. Come on now. All right, so the weekly chart, you know what, I'm going to, no, I don't have to clear this stuff. The big one for the weekly is that if this one closes, we got a little W pattern, so we're going to keep an eye on that. So if this one closes up here or above the MAs, then next week we need to close above this high candle, and that will confirm possibly a little more upside in these stocks, in this USO. Ultimately, if we do go up, you're looking at 1166, you're looking at 12 bucks, then the high pivot here right around 1245. So we're looking for where this thing's going to close tomorrow. Then we'll look for confirmation the following week to see if it stays above there. I mean, we could sell off tomorrow and we go straight down, or we could go straight up right into the $12 area, and there's a gap up there too, and then ultimately the double top up here. So got to keep an eye on this. We'll see what tomorrow's close will bring, and then we'll redetermine which way this thing could possibly go. But what a heck of a move, let me tell you. RBC upgraded, pulled back, they did it again, and then the Saudi news, this news. But one thing I keeping an eye on is the dollar. I'm going to show you this real quick. And we went over this in our live chat. If you want to join our live chats during the day, I'm going to do more here and there. I'm going to tell you about a half hour earlier when I'm going to do them. I'm usually going to do them around noon on Wall Street, 1 o'clock or so, because that's when it's pretty mellow, and that's when we could get look at some charts and do some stuff. So, but the UUP's on a tear. Gold's getting pounded, but the oil keeps going up. Dollar up, oil down, dollar up, gold down. So right now the oil trade's disconnected. If this thing breaks out of this and this trend line breakout, we're definitely going to go up on the UUP. But that's something we'll talk another time. All right, guys, thanks for watching my videos. God bless. See you on the charts.